Hey everybody, it's Bruce with Habowskistudio, heading off to work this morning, and I thought I'd try just a little quick oil sketch. Got some nice wispy clouds going on, and I thought where I work, it's very wide open space in terms of vertical obstacles, so you get quite a bit of skyscape going on there, and I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to practice some quick reference sky painting. I think I'm going to do a little 6x8, and we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to the channel, I invite you to subscribe. For everyone else, let's get going. Bye. Okay, what I'm going to try for this filming is to hold the camera with my right hand, since I paint left-handed, and I usually don't do anything with my right hand. It's in my pocket while I'm painting, and so I thought I'd try to do that for some real-time footage, since I don't have my other tripod, and we'll see how it goes. Here's the setup I'm using, my homemade paint box. I made a larger version of it, and I've copied the Coulter easel idea. I've messed with this before with the tripod mount area right here, and it was just too wobbly. But I figured I'd experiment with the spring clamp, just clamping it to the mount head, and it works great. I used this at the coast of Maine the other day when it was pretty breezy, and pretty darn stable. I'm pretty happy with it. So check that out. Alright, let's get rolling. I have other colors from another painting before, but I'm going to be using titanium white, and on the far right we got cad yellow light, cobalt blue, and cad red. Keep it simple. I'll try to keep as steady as I can. I saw in a video, someone was talking about a painter friend of theirs kind of started their sky with some white and then put the blue into it, and so I'm going to try that a little bit. And like I mentioned, I'm going to have a low horizon line. I don't really care too much about that, and try to make it far away, put some trees in there in the bottom. Right now the sky is the most important, so I want to nail that and get that going. Now I'm going to put a little cobalt blue into that. And I can strengthen the saturation as much as I want. I'm not too concerned with paint application right now, because I do have a very severely limited amount of time. Looks like it's going to be trying to get this done in a half an hour, something to that effect. So it's going to be some real active brush work. So this just gives, right away, this is the first time I've done this kind of technique with white first. Kind of like the idea. I think it's going to lend to the wispiness of the clouds, if you can see them in the sky there. We'll see. I'm going to try to just use one brush, and now I'm going to mix up some green to just get some general tones, kind of a muted green. I can intensify here and there. I'm not just filling it in, letting it mix with that last little bit of white here and there. A little more cobalt, cad red, cobalt, and you can see as I kind of mix off to the side. It's not a lot of thick paint, but I get some ranges here, so now I can dip into this red here if I need to. But back up here, get some suggestion of dark trees, different heights. I'm using the scene, but I'm not married to it in terms of the trees. And I'll probably put a few hints of the building tops. You can see them way over there. They don't stand out a lot, but I'll make them stand out. Just a few slabs of light tone color to suggest buildings. Sun's kind of coming out. Now a little more blue. A little mute that green a bit. A little more reddish greens here and there. A little more blue. I feel like I'm almost trying to do a GoPro kind of video, but using my Canon ELPH. We'll see. Okay, I'm not going to get too more caught up in that. I'll have some, of course, light poles sticking up to suggest some verticals for interest. Getting some more. And as I like certain shapes is when I'll start committing to thicker paint. I think sometimes, you know, if we get too... I like to just work that way. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. There's a lot of different ways to get to an effect, but I like to, it gives me a sense of how I'm liking the scene. What if there's a cloud that just happens to present that is just really good opportunity. You don't want to chase clouds, but it's okay to try certain clouds that you may like more. Mixing a little yellow, as we can see here, for the horizon line down by the trees here. Kind of a minty-ish kind of green, and just getting the base variation. Now I'll use some of that to cut around the trees I created. Just to create some interest. And I keep my little strings going. They're not super dense mixtures. But I'm not cleaning my brush. I just dip into more paint. Now I can start. I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but that's pretty greenish. And I'm really liking it. So now I'll shift over and pick up more blue. You see how I push the brush over there. Come up here, and in that split right here, start getting the blue into there. Just take off the excess paint. Put in a little more blue. So it's really kind of loose mixing here. Now I'm going to rinse. The clouds are essentially a whitish color, and trying to get some more volume of paint. I don't brush too much, I just get a little bit. And see if I can get in here. You can start seeing some texture being built up. Get some wispiness up here. The clouds are kind of the wind's kind of blowing them. And you can constantly, I'm barely touching the bristle brush to the panel now to very lightly mix that. And right along the horizon, there's some light toned purple clouds. I'm stealing some of my sky color. See if I can suggest, I mean, there's just hints. It's going to intermix a little bit with what's already there. Just a hint. Okay. I like the sense of light so far. I'm going to reinforce the richness in the sky now. Up in here. The danger when you paint this early in the morning is the fact that this sun comes up fast and it really can change the tone of the sky. It can look richer now when it wasn't before a moment ago. You got to try to stick to your original plan. And I'm trying to do that, get some richness with the cobalt. It's a nice morning effect. Now I'm going to get back into my saturated color, just use it a little bit into the yellow, because right in here I want to get some more blue. See how I plant that stroke? Just do that and then tickle the edges, I call it. It's a constant back and forth push-pull, just the way it rolls. Oh, wait a minute, I want to get a little bit of more tree texture tone on the trees, and I'm just using a Silver Grand Prix size 6 bristle, mixing up some green. Want to keep it somewhat darkish, establish a little more of the shadow, get some of that. Now the key with this limited palette is you got to realize you cannot mix potentially every color, but finding the right value, as I always say. And I'm just trying to use some varied brushwork, add interest. A little bit of the yellow now, lightening it, a little bit of red to gray it down, a little more red, going into my horizon sky color there, back into the yellow. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm going to commit a little more to a little more red. A little more blue, get a darker green, a little red into that. I hope this method of how I'm filming is actually working okay, considering. Going to be another beautiful day here in Maine. I mean, sky's opening up. And the clouds have changed a bit, but that's what happens. And like I was saying about the limited palette, it really is, you can't necessarily achieve every color, but you can still give the sensation. I'll wisp some of the edges, and you can still see my umber undertone in parts. Now I'll get a bit of white and yellow, make it kind of a toned down yellow green. I don't want it super bright. I don't like it to have too high key to color, except for certain key areas, because then it'll, to me, start looking like a cartoon rather than nature's beautiful subdued colors with accents of chromatic brilliance. So I'm liking that effect. I don't like that all the trees are the same size, so I'm going to, we as humans, so sometimes I think our mind just wants to make everything the same, but I'm going to bring a tree up here. And because you're starting to mix into sky, I wiped off a little here and then pick up more paint to reaffirm that tone. Don't muddle around too much, and it's just an impressionistic sky anyway, so we can adjust things here and there later too, but there, I'm liking that. And I'll work a few more accents into the punch up the, it's very getting lighter now, but I'm going to put a little more white in here too. So let's work on that. Rinsing my brush out real quick. And I love using the cloth as I do this in my jar. And then this is very absorbent, so I can just let it take that solvent out and really make it the brush pretty dry. Go back into pure white. And I'm going to add just a bit of yellow to that. A little more white. A little bit of the cad yellow, light. Not through the whole sky area, but only in parts. Now mix back into some pure white. And you can see maybe the intensity of that yellow. Now I'll just blend that out a bit to suggest subtle highlights. And I think I'm gonna just put in the power poles and call this little sketch done. Like how it's turning out. And I'll get back to you after I put the power poles in, because I'll need my malt stick. Okay, I gotta be wrapping it up, gotta be going to work here. And all I did was I added a few light posts and just made up some arbitrary shapes for buildings down below to give a sense of scale and that sort of thing. I think I might just call it urban morning or something, I don't know, but that's what we got. And just stole a couple light poles from over there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, that's going to wrap up this little quick episode here of doing a little cloud study. Hope you enjoyed it. I was actually pretty happy with it, and the method I used to start the sky is pretty cool. I'm going to try that again. Different effects, maybe do a little few more cloud studies, and I like the softness of the edges and all that sort of thing. So thanks for joining me, and now I'm off to work. Take care. Bye.